She was born September 16th, 1885 in Blankensee, Germany. It's near Hamburg. Her dad was Bernard Walpole Danielson, her mom Claude and Ronzo. Her dad was a ship captain. He's known to be really strict, and they nicknamed him the Bible thrower because he actually threw Bibles at his kids. So, Karen cared for her older brother Bent deeply. She also had 4 elders, half siblings from her father's previous marriage. At a very young age, she was very determined to invest her energies into her intellectual qualities. She said that if she couldn't be pretty, she would be really smart, even though most people saw her as being pretty attractive for real. At a very young age, she was she had a few problems with depressions throughout her life. Her dad is very strict, obviously, and then he thought of her brother in a more, and she kept her brother at a higher standard. And she also kind of developed a crush on her older brother. And after she told her older brother, he kind of thought it was weird, so he kind of distanced himself from her after that. So that was the first time she acquired her problems of depression and throughout her life. In 1904, Karen's mother left her father, taking the children with her. They were never actually divorced, and they still kept in touch. In 1906, Karen entered medical school supported by her mother. Obviously, her dad was against her going to school. And, the University of Frinsburg was in fact one of the first illustrations throughout Germany to enroll women in medical courses. She transferred around different schools, attending several universities, which was pretty common back in the day, which I think is still pretty common because I'm done. At medical school, she met Oscar Horney Lawson, who she married by 1909. A year later, she gave birth to her first of 3 daughters, which she was Bridget. Graduated from the University of Berlin. After that happened, her mom passed away. Then Karen had refined her interest and was being keen to pursue studies in the pioneers' pursuit of psychoanalysis. In 1920, Horney took up a position within the Institution for Psychoanalysis in Berlin, and she teaches there for several years. In 1926, Karen left her husband and left for the United States due to Oscar's rapidly becoming embittered, Morris, and argumentative. And her brother, actually her older brother, passed away a year before that. And so that summer, they went to a vacation, and she actually swam into the middle of the ocean one day, and tried to commit suicide. After she left her husband, she moved to the United States, settled in Brooklyn. Brooklyn was actually a pretty big Jewish and German refuge around that time. Her first career position in the United States was the Associated Directors of Chicago Institute for the Psychoanalysis. She developed and advanced her composition theories regarding neurosis and personalities based on the experience gained from working in psychotherapy. In 1937, she published the book Neurotic Personalities of Our Times. 1941, Horney was Dean of the American Institution of Psychoanalysis. Horney deviated from Freudian psychology, led to her resigning from her post, and she soon took up teaching in the New York Medical College, an institute for those who were interested in Horney's own organization. After becoming dissatisfied with the general, strict, unorthodox nature of the psychoanalytic community. Her contributions, theory and nerve needs, narcissism, Freudianism, theory of the self, feminine psychology. Many agree that Horney's theory of narcissism is the best that exists today. She looked at narcissism in a different way. Saw narcissism as an attempt to make life bearable as an interpersonal controlling and copying technique. Thought it was a mistake to think that neurosis in adults is caused by their childhood. So she instead named parental indifference as the true culprit behind neurosis. She said a child may feel a lack of warmth and affect if a parent who is otherwise occupied or neurotic themselves make fun of their child thinking neglects to fulfill promises. Later on, further, she found out that she could club neuristic needs into 3 combined strategies, which is the first strategy is a compliance. Most children facing parental indifferences use this strategy. Those strategies were affection, approval, and neurotic. This strategy includes the first 3 needs. Horney's second broad coping strategy is aggression, also called moving against an expansive solution. This moves throughout 8 fall under this category. Power, social recognition, prestige, need to personally achieve, and the need to exploit others. The final coping strategy is withdrawal. Includes the neurotic need to self-sufficiency and independence, perfection, and unsalability. When neither aggression nor compliance eliminates the parental indifferences, one recognizes that the children attempt to solve the problem by becoming self-sufficient. Well, this is human for everyone to have these needs to some extent. The neurotics need to this much more intense. The neurotic therefore make the need to central to their existence. Explains he or she will experience great anxiety if the need is not met, or if it appears that the need will not be met in the future. So, together, Horney with the following psychoanalyst, Alfred Elder, formed the neo-Freudian discipline. Like many who held opposing views with Horney felt that the sex and aggression were not the primary consistence for determining personalities. She thought Freud had merely stumbled upon women's jealousy and men's generic power in the world. The degree to which men are driven to succeed may be millions substitutes for the fact that they cannot carry nurture, and bear children. Horney felt that the men were envious of a woman's ability to bear children. Horney strove to reformulate freedom of thought, presenting an holistic, humanistic view of the individual psyche, which placed much emphasis on cultural and social differences worldwide. Karen ended up going against a lot of things, not necessarily going against a lot of things that Freudian or whatever.
Freudian.
Yeah, Freudian. He went. She wasn't really against all the things that he had, all of his work, but she wanted to clean up some of the things in the general she liked, and she agreed with them. But some little things like the thoughts on the female perspective, she didn't like what he was saying, and that's why they ended up not liking each other a lot, because she ended up trying to fix his work, as you would say. She died in December 1952 at age 67 in her sleep in New York City. Buried Ferncliff Cemetery and Mausoleum, Hartsdale, New York. Carolina Clinic opened up on May 6, 1955 in New York City in honor of Horney's achievements.
Any questions?